What's going on, guys? Welcome to March's episode of Plus Club, the show where we play the games offered to us for free on PlayStation Plus, and at the end of the month, we talk about it, and we let you know what our opinions on those games are. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
I'm very, very tired and exhausted mentally and physically. With that, quick reminder that we are moving into a new month. So make sure to play The Surge and Conan Exiles. I can't fucking talk right now. What do we think about these games before we move into the rest of the shit?
I'm not super excited for The Surge, but it's just because I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give it, an honest try. Conan Exiles, I don't know anything about other than what you told me about it when we actually found out about the announcement. So, curious.
It's Ark with Conan stuff. Mm-hmm. A lot of shirtless people.
I get to punch a camel. Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Cool.
Probably. No. Chris?
I'm actually excited to play The Surge because I never have, but I know it's supposed to be like a Soulsborne-y, supposed to type game. I don't know if it actually is or not. But
it is, definitely.
Okay, well, I'm intrigued to play it. I've heard about it for a long time, but I never actually got around to doing it. And Conan Exiles, I have it on PC, and I've never loaded it up. I've never played it.
Why do you have it?
Someone tried to convince me to play it with them, and I was like, okay, I'll get it, because it was part of a Humble Bundle thing. And then I just never played it.
Weird, yeah. I know Rob and Julie play it, and
they're the ones who tried to get me to play it.
Yeah, and they were trying to get me to play it, and I thought about it, but I was like, I'll wait till it goes on sale, and then it just never happened. So for me, I'm excited to play it. I've been eyeing it for a while. Like I said, I was waiting for that sale, but The Surge actually bought at full price when it came out, and because those guys made that Dark Souls clone game that I forgot what the fuck it's called. But anyway, we played it for Plus Club as well. And I liked that. It's definitely took a lot from fucking Dark Souls, a lot. But kind of like World of Warcraft visually meets Dark Souls. But it's the same guys. They made The Surge. And so I picked it up because I was like, you know what? That game was pretty good. Hopefully the newer one will be even better. And it's got a lot of cool ideas. And we're going to play it and we're going to talk about it next month. But I remember I kind of was just kind of like falling out of it pretty quickly. There's some ideas there that are cool but don't work well. So I'm hoping in this next month I can maybe change my mind on it. So, but I have played this game pretty extensively. So we're gonna play those next month. So also we have a Discord link down below. Talk to us anytime, all the time. And we are also on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you'd prefer to listen to us, save some data on your way to work or wherever the hell you're going in your life, you can listen to us. You don't have to watch us, but you can at Tastily Gaming on YouTube. I feel like I missed something else. Oh, Game of the Month. Game of the Month we'll be talking about tomorrow, which is Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr. So make sure to come back for that. And we will be picking a new Game of the Month then. So stay tuned for that. Also, I want to let you guys know that I did an episode yesterday. It's all a blur for Borderlands 3. I watched the whole thing in its entirety, the whole presentation. Really enjoyed it, so make sure to go check that out if you want to see my reaction to that. Also, the trailer itself, react to that as well. I want to explain real quick, though, that would have been out like a day before, but there was a specific song in that video that YouTube deemed not showable in the United States, Canada,
To our core demo.
Mexico. The UK could see it just fine, which is weird because they're restrictive as fuck. But here, the Americas, they're like, nope. So I was like, that's a huge problem. So I was like, I need to figure this out. So I got rid of that video, went back into the editing process, clipped the music out manually, re-exported it, seemed to have worked. So that's why it came out a little later. Hopefully you guys got a chance to check that out because I had to do that extra fucking work.
We have 2 videos in the last year or 2 that are completely blocked in Japan as well. So
fuck, what is that? Final Fantasy 14 or 15? Or no, it's Kingdom Hearts. Every time we cover Kingdom Hearts, it gets blocked in Japan. So Japanese people are not watching those videos.
Weird.
Yeah.
Fucking copyright laws all over the world, man.
Yeah, after that happened, I was curious. I started scrolling through all the videos, and I was just seeing which ones have been hit. And most of them were like, well, the money to the video is going to the person who made the song. I'm like, I don't even care, dude. We don't make anything off these videos. But then, that one was just, blocked in some countries. I was like, shit. There's one, too, that's, blocked in South Africa.
Yeah.
I forgot which one it is. I think it's a Cyberpunk video or something.
I don't remember exactly, but every time that happens, because I also get the notifications for that stuff. I'm just like, why this particular thing? You know, so
It was like a big game, and it's like can't be seen in South Africa. I'm like, well, if we have anybody in South Africa who watches the show, sorry that you missed that one episode. But yeah, so far we've been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Just when it was like no USA, I was like, that needs to get fixed right now, because that's most of the people who watch us, including myself.
European exclusive episode.
Yeah, they get it exclusively over there. It wasn't even showing up in my feed. I had to go into, even when I clicked videos, it wouldn't show me. I'm like, and then I have to go into like the like behind the scenes, like more editing aspect of YouTube to find the video. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. So anyway, that's been fixed. Make sure to check out that episode. And yeah, let's get this show on the fucking road. So Plus Club, we played 2 games this month in March, which was Call of Duty Modern Warfare and The Witness. And yeah, we should probably start with which one? I'll let you guys pick.
I mean, I'd probably just go with The Witness and go to Call of Duty. So,
all right. So if you didn't get a chance to play it, The Witness is a very vibrant and lush-looking first-person puzzle game where you wander around an island. You're the expert.
yeah.
And you solve puzzles that are all interesting in the aspect that they are visual puzzles that you have to press a button to initiate. Sometimes even finding the puzzle is part of the puzzle. And yeah, they're like these weird visual puzzles that you kind of like just get the hang of and understand by just looking at them. It's almost, I equate it to how like the iPhone is designed for anybody of any age to pick up and know how to use it just by looking at it. So in that aspect, they put a lot of work into puzzle design without explaining the puzzles to you. We all played this. Chevy is the master of it. He played it.
You're way upselling me.
He played quite a bit of it. And yeah, let's start with Chris.
Well, like you said, graphically, visually, it's very bright and colorful. It's almost on the level of like a children's Disney movie of color. It kind of makes me think of in World of Warcraft, the Blood Elf starting area, which is also heavily equated to Disneyland. It's just very bright and vibrant and full of colors, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for this type of game, I think. It's just not necessarily adding anything to it either. But controls-wise, it plays just fine. But it's really, simply to put it, it's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
You're literally just walking around solving puzzles.
It's kind of akin to, like, oddly enough, like Myst.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of, was Myst. Like,
that's an
way back in
old
the
game
day.
for younger audiences.
Yeah, but there's less, from my
great.
experience in it, there was less like collecting items and going backtracking. There was more just like, follow this line, that's wire connects to this puzzle, that connects to this puzzle. There's kind of like a chain reaction thing. But I beat a good chunk of one puzzle, the mirror puzzle, enough to get the achievement for it. And then I was like, okay, I get the gist of this. I'm done. It's just, and I enjoy puzzles as much as the next person does, but I just was not feeling it.
You said that like you're watching somebody's kids, and you're finally just like, you know what? I had fun with your kids, but I'm done. Yeah,
Take 'em back.
They can go back with you now. I might see you later.
I might see you later. I might come back in the next couple of years to see how you're grown up, but you know, I don't expect much.
We'll catch up in 5 years when you're bigger, have more things to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I kind of share the same sentiment. To be fully clear from my perspective, I'm not a big puzzle game guy, so there is already walking into it kind of a hurdle for me. Not that there's anything wrong with puzzle games or people who play puzzle games. They don't click for me. I don't typically feel anything accomplishing for me about figuring stuff out. I always feel like I'm sitting there and I'm like, when it's happening, I kind of dig it. Like, oh, okay, now I get it. But once it's done, I'm like, okay, anyway. And I just like move on to the next thing. It's like, someone's like, oh, go clean the fucking kitchen or something like that. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. And I just do it. I'm like, I'm doing it. And then I'm done. I'm like, fuck this. And I'm out of there. Same thing with puzzles. Like, I almost feel like they're almost a chore. And especially when the whole game is centered around doing puzzles. I feel like I'm being made to do chores almost. And that's most games. Games like Tetris technically is a puzzle game, but I love fucking Tetris, so it's not even the same. Or like Puyo Pop type games. Those are cool. But anyway, even like Uncharted and like the old Resident Evils and stuff, like, although in Resident Evil always did feel accomplishing, 'cause you're like, oh shit, this is unlocking a whole new section of the mansion or whatever the fuck. But even in those games, like I feel like I'm stopping in my enjoyment just to figure out something that someone else deemed important for me to do. So going into this, I really love the art style. It looks a lot better than I thought it would. I've seen pictures of it before, and this game had been talked about for years before it came out because the guy who made it is the guy who made, I believe, Braid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is high profile. He's like indie game royalty because he's one of like the big three from when indie games first broke out with like Super Meat Boy and all that shit. So it has been interesting to kind of see where he went from, you know, one to the other. And I really love the way the game looks. I think the puzzles are genius in their design, not even just like in their difficulty or, you know, the way you have to go about doing them. But like I said before, the way that they convey how to do them without giving you a tutorial. So that in itself deserves credit. But again, the puzzle aspect is not fun for me, although I did find it intriguing. I kept looking at it, I kept thinking about it from like a design perspective on how they made the game more so, and I think I appreciate that more than the puzzles themselves. But it did take me back to like a more nostalgic time of like games like Myst and games where you're just kind of wandering, trying to figure out the mystery of where you are and what you're doing and kind of moving forward based off of you figuring things out. So that was pretty cool. So pretty much all in all, everything about this game I thought was really great. Like really fucking cool. Aside from my disinterest in puzzles, which that is what the game is, 100%. And so I played the game for maybe an hour or two, kind of wandered around, did some random things here and there. I can't even say I completed anything because I did a couple things. Something would happen. I go and do something else. Something happened. I just keep walking. I had no idea where I was going, what I was doing. Then I saw Chevy playing it one night, and he was doing like this puzzle, not to tell a story for you, but like you were doing a puzzle like on a boat or whatever, and it was a visual thing of like you had to like look at the island and certain you'd start seeing patterns that you had to do a puzzle for and stuff. I thought that was actually really kind of genius and interesting. I could not see myself getting to where you were at in the game, so I was glad that you were there so I could see it, because I was like, that's really fucking cool. But there's no way that I was gonna beat this game, and like I'm gonna reemphasize, it's not because the game's bad. I can't play these type of games for too long, but everything about it's great. I actually really enjoy and appreciate what they did with this game.
I mean, I have a lot of similar sentiments to both of you as well. I'm not a huge on puzzle games either. I also don't really necessarily feel a sense of accomplishment from them. I just happen to be in the right mindset that day. So
Yeah, you're in the zone.
So I sat down, I played this game pretty much all day, and at first I just
want to emphasize how interesting that is, because a lot of times when it comes to the games that we play as an obligation to the channel, we've all agreed like we're going to do this, you know, for fun, be able to talk about it, whatever. A lot of times you'll wait to the very end of the month,
Yeah.
because you're playing Final Fantasy 14 all month, and then you'll play it for like an hour, maybe two. A lot of times, I'm not trying to discredit you, but like a lot of times you'll do enough to get an idea of it and kind of, you know, get away from whatever. But this game,
unless
like,
I have an interest to begin with.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to discredit you. I'm just saying, like, you know, sometimes you'll wait to the end and you'll kind of play enough to get the gist. Kind of like what Chris just said with this. So pretty much doing what we all do at certain points. I've done it myself. But this one, you were like in the middle of the month one day and you just decided to almost beat it. And I was
I
like,
was on vacation that week.
yeah, and I was and on your vacation you're playing this, and I'm like, that's weird. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So like when you first start the game, the puzzles are like super basic, and my initial thought when I started was like, oh, it's really colorful, but this is, you know, not very challenging. Blah blah blah.
Fucking kids game.
But you know, I thought it was kind of neat. I want to see where it was going, so I kind of kept going, and then I realized that every zone would add a different rule or style to that puzzle type. So then all of a sudden, you're adding more complexity the more zones you get into the game.
That's my hell.
And you start, like you said, at first it's very much like simple to like look at and kind of get the gist, or like fumble your way through it. But at some a point in the game as well, there's some really weird rules. Like there'll be some white dots and some black dots, and depending on how many white dots you have and how many black dots you have, it's essentially a math puzzle you have to figure out.
Oof.
And that'll dictate
Anxiety's going up.
where you're moving the line and stuff like that. So, and it gets worse than that. Like it gets super complicated. But sometimes it's really neat. And an example I want to give is there's like a treehouse section.
I like tree houses.
And in order to get between the houses, you have to build a bridge. The bridge is made out of puzzle squares. So you solve one, it folds to the next puzzle. You solve one, it folds out. But to get to other ones, there will be certain joints where the puzzle has multiple solutions. And depending on which one you go, it'll be 90 degrees this way, or it'll go straight, or it'll go 90 degrees this way. So you have to go back and redo that puzzle to move the map or to move the bridge. So there's a lot of
frustrated. I haven't done that.
There's a lot of like neat ideas in the game, and I think that is kind of like my biggest takeaway. Is the whole time I was playing it, I was like, wasn't necessarily like enjoying like solving the puzzles, but the whole time I was mostly intrigued with what they had done with the puzzles, and you
get that like sense of progression of moving on to the next area and seeing the new puzzles or whatever.
For me, it was almost like seeing what they thought up.
Yeah,
when they're making.
That's what
game.
I was intrigued.
I was just like, there's some really cool ideas in here. So I was playing more out of the fascination of like where their head was when they were making that game than I was playing the game.
I often think about parts in games that are meant to challenge you in some kind of problem-solving way, and then sometimes I sit there and think about the person who thought that up. Because I'm trying to figure out how to beat it. They had to think it up in a way that was difficult to beat. Their brain's on a different fucking level.
Well, and then you brought up the environmental puzzles. And I found those on accident. So there is a town section. And I was
wondering, because I was like, how'd you even figure that out? Because you're just like floating around the island going, there it is. And you're like trying to do something. I'm like, what?
So I was in the town. I was on top of one of the buildings, and I looked down at the
white whale.
There's a fence down there, but at the beginning of it was a dot. And I was like, that looks a lot like the puzzles in the game. And so I just said, fuck, and gave it a shot. And it started glowing and let me start drawing in the line on top of the fence. I was like, oh no, there's hidden puzzles.
Yeah, I think I was there. I think I was there for that revelation, because you were walking and then you looked over and then you're sitting there just like hitting buttons. You're like, oh yeah, it's a puzzle. And you start doing something. I'm like, how the fuck do you even see that? What is that? Why is that a puzzle?
Yeah.
And after that, you're just unlocking fucking the Da Vinci
I found
Code.
5 of them in one little section. I was just sitting there and I was like, there's one there, and there. Oof. And I was trying to figure them all out. So
puzzle game with secret puzzles.
It's pretty nuts. And then when you complete those environmental puzzles, a light will go to these little like black towers, and parts of it will start to light up in the direction in which you were. So there's literally columns of secret puzzles, and it just points you in the right direction on how to get to them.
Dude, if you're like a puzzle, not that I'm getting into recommendations, but fucking if you're like a puzzle fan, that sounds like goddamn puzzle fan's wet dream.
This is pretty next level in that regard for sure.
God.
So, another one, and I don't want to spoil too many puzzles because obviously people are going to be into this, but there's a part where you're on the boat.
It's going to be a walkthrough for him. Chevy's doing fucking walkthroughs.
There's a part where you're on a boat.
That's how you beat the game.
And the reflection of the dock from the water at the right angle will make a puzzle between the water and the dock. So you run into that kind of stuff a lot. A lot of it's just like angle and how you're looking at it. Another one I ran into, I'm not gonna say where because I don't want to get too detailed, obviously, with too much of this. But one of them was an existing puzzle with 2 separate pieces of environment that if you got the puzzle wrong, it would make the color correct to be able to start from the environment, go into the puzzle, and back into the environment. So it was. I mean, there's a lot of really neat.
It sounds like they were
there.
building the island, building puzzles, and then they'd look over and be like, "What if we did this?" And then they did that like reflection on the water thing, and they're like, as they're doing other stuff, they're like, "Let's make a puzzle here too, since we already have all this shit for it, and alter it a bit to make this work." Like, because there's no way they planned all that out beforehand. That just sounds like as they were going, let's do it, which is kind of cool.
It's possible. Coming for you, Chris.
Is that us or okay? I was so loud I didn't know if it was here or there.
Chris is in California, so
right next to fucking the cop shop.
Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of quickly summarize what my feelings on it. I think it is. There's a lot of great ideas there, and if you're the right kind of person, which obviously when we do recommendations, I'll have more say on it. This is definitely going to be kind of like. That itch you might have for the genre is there for sure. So I can't tell you what the story is though at all, and I know they're trying to tell me one, but the whole time I just kind of like am not following them.
That's fine. I play games all the time, and I'm like, this story's boring, and I don't know what the fuck's happening anymore. I stopped paying attention.
Yeah, and this happens a lot in puzzle games though for me, anyways, because I'm too like there's there's two aspects of the game. There's the story, which isn't being told in like a good flow, so you're getting in pieces and you have to remember it. And this doesn't retain shit very well. So,
you know, what puzzle game I actually did like, and I had it on Game Boy, which is fucking weird.
I liked Fez.
Yeah, Fez is okay. God, what the fuck was it called? You were like in a castle's first person. You moved from room to room. You had to figure out things, and there was always that book in the beginning that if you picked it up in the wrong circumstances, the floor would open up and drop you.
Didn't they make a version for 64?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking
Something
about.
64. The fuck was that game called?
I don't remember.
I liked that game. Sorry. You were talking about all that. I
that's
started
okay.
thinking about that game.
So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I did all but, before I quit, I checked a walkthrough to see how far I was. I had like 4 zones left. I was almost done. So,
Should beat it.
and I don't remember where I left off at this point. So,
It's been like a week.
remember when I said this doesn't work? It doesn't work.
Oh, I've played games with you. We'll walk like 10 feet, and you're like, I don't know where we are. I'm like, okay, just follow me.
I'll be playing it with Chris. Not to get too tasty cast with this, but like, and he'll be like, blah 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 is over there, and I'm like, I don't know where that is or who that is, and he's like,
I don't know what the fuck
it's
you
blah blah
said
blah
to
blah
me.
blah, and I was like, dude, give me coordinates because I don't know what the fuck you're saying. I've killed that guy 300 times. No idea what his name is.
Yeah, I'm really bad about that too. I'll fucking play a game and like I'll just do something, and then someone's like, "Oh, go back to blah blah blah." I'm like, "Who the fuck's that?" I remember coordinates great. I like it's hard for me to get lost. I got me and Cody out of a fucking desert one time in real life by looking at fucking Google Maps and not having roads or anything. I was just scrolling in, going, "This looks like that. Let's go right," and we got out of the desert. It was fucking scary. But anyway, but yeah, names I'm horrible with.
Yeah.
I could literally just talk to someone, and they're like, "I'm Mike," and I'm like, "Who? I don't remember you."
Or anytime I've played a game with either of you guys, and then for some reason you guys start following me for and then
I really never ever want to do that ever. But if it seems like that's what's happening, I'm like, all right, let's try it.
and then all of a sudden you're like, where are we going? I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, and then I'm like,
know.
okay, move, and I start like, follow me, and then everybody's like, okay. So I got low patience. I'm just like following you guys. I'm like, we're not going the right way, but I'm gonna see how this plays out. So I'm a curious boy first and foremost. So I like a bit of chaos. If we get into some weird shit because someone went the wrong direction, I'm down for the story. I want to be able to tell it later. So yeah. So yeah, pretty decent. It sounds like experiences with everybody. It seems like everybody at least appreciated the game.
100%.
So let's get into recommendations. I'll start because I got some easy ones. I'm gonna go for the easy ones. You guys can go for the hard ones. If you like puzzle games, I think this is probably a must. If you like old school, either point and click adventures or just adventure games in general, where it's more about the adventure and less about the action, I think you might dig this as well. Although it's gonna have puzzles, so be ready for that. If you like, even like games like Telltale games, you're not going to get that same kind of storytelling, but you are going to get that sense of adventure and kind of progressing through something that's more of a casual experience, more so than a game where you're getting shot at and shit. So you might be able to appreciate it. If you're a fan of indie games, I think it's definitely a must check out because, like I said before, this guy is very well known for his games. So it's worth looking into for that reason. I'm gonna pass the ball to you guys.
I mean, you said the two. I mean, the big obvious one was the puzzle game one, and I have to emphasize, if you really like puzzles in games or puzzle, like not even just puzzle games, but like if playing a game and the puzzles are an exciting aspect for you, this game has a variety. Even though they all seem like similar, there's a lot of nuance to it, and so I think this is pretty much a must try for a lot of people in that regard because it really, you're going to get a lot of play out of it, I think.
I'd even challenge people that are like, they don't hate puzzle games to check it out as well, because I think the way they're designed is a really interesting and very modern way to do puzzles. There's so many things we're used to with puzzle games, and this is like, there's some really creative ones there. So you might find yourself a puzzle game fan. For
sure.
Playing this.
The other one that you said I agree with though is if you're the type of person who's like, I play indie games, this is totally that kind of game.
Yeah.
Not to say that not all indie games aren't like that, but some you look at and you go, oh, they're definitely going for the indie feel, as for some are just small companies trying to make big experiences.
I think it's funny how varied indie games are, but there are people who play indie games.
Yeah.
I've talked to people who are like, oh, I pretty much play indie games. I'm like, that's an interesting thing because that's essentially just saying that you play like small dev games with low budgets.
It's like saying I watch B movies.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a thing to B movies. There's a cheese to fucking B movies, whereas like there can be to indie games, but there's also an appreciation for indie games in the sense that like a smaller team, if not maybe one person, work on a game, see what they've done.
Someone didn't have billions of dollars to spend.
Yeah, it somehow turned out an awful fucking game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
I had another one. Shoot. What was it? We said
You can pass the ball to Chris while you think.
Sounds good.
I ain't got much to contribute, to be honest.
If you like islands, if you like water, if you like vibrant colors.
That's the only thing I was like, if you like vibrant colors in a setting that's not going to give you a lot of anxiety.
If you like iPhones.
If you want to play a game that's relaxing but still challenging.
It's not like a phone at all.
Felt like a phone to me. Felt like that game needed touch controls.
It would probably work really well on a phone.
It could work really well on a touch phone.
That's what I'm saying.
Man, that so bums me out that I cannot remember.
I forgot where we came from.
I don't recommend this for children, though. Children would be very frustrated with after the first level.
Define children in that regard, though, because I know it's
3-year-old.
Well, sure, but
I'm thinking anybody under the age of like 12 would have a hard time with this.
I'll say because I could see younger me playing a game like this for sure.
There'd be some baby geniuses though, fucking knocking this out.
Well, I'm sure the one in a bajillion baby geniuses that are out there.
Don't be talking down to Boss Baby.
I remember my other recommendation.
Yeah.
If you are interested in exploring like game design itself, there's a lot of really, like I said earlier, there's a lot of really neat ideas here, and a big part of my drive to continue playing the game was just my pure interest in how they made it.
That was my interest as well. So that's a good one because there are. I mean, me and you were like that a lot, but like people out there who have dabbled in, game development or map making and stuff like that, it's always really interesting to see how people develop things. And that's something I'm always looking at as well because I've, fucked around a bit in my past with stuff like that.
You play like a Souls game and then like you open a door and all of a sudden you're like,
oh, their map design's always fucking blown me away.
Before. Yeah. So, I mean, stuff like that.
It's very intricate.
I'm not saying this is on that level, but it is definitely... there's some really cool ideas in there to check out. So, yeah.
Anything else? All right, let's grade the fucker. I'm going to give it... I'll start. I'm going to give it... if I was going off of my enjoyment of the game in like a gameplay sense, I'd probably give it like a D+. That sounds awful, right? But I'm going to give it a B because I think that is a very well-made game. I think it's a really good-looking game. I think the puzzles are very smart. I think they're very well done. And they come from a place where somebody really was thinking on a different level, and I think it really shows. So in the right hands, I think somebody could really love this game. It's just not for me, so I'm going to give it a very strong B, just because I think it's really high quality.
It's funny. I have similar thoughts because obviously, like personal enjoyment wise versus like what I actually think of the game. So that being said, I do think this is a very well-made game, and for what it is it does it quite well. So I actually want to give it a B+ because I do think there's a great groundwork there and a lot of ideas in the puzzles, and if they ever decided to make a sequel to this game, they could take those ideas and just really kind of expand upon it. I do think there's a lot of opportunity to the game. But for me, it was really just kind of like I was in the right mood and mindset to play it at the time. I've not touched it since.
The perfect storm.
It just kind of worked that day. Yeah.
Cast.
I probably will be deleting it off my PS4. I have no intent to finish it. And there's nothing against the game. I got what I wanted.
I'm deleting the fuck out of that old boy.
So
you're getting out of here.
You guys are grading things like I would. I really didn't like this game, but it's really decent, so I'm gonna grade it higher.
Yeah.
There's a quality there, even if it's not something really that we're into. So I would say.
Well, I'm pretty much into everything, so it's hard for me to. I can't grade it low because it is a good game. It's just not for me, and that's a really rare thing. Because anyone who knows me and watches the channel knows I play every game ever.
Right.
So like when I play a game, I'm like, that sucks. I can't get into this because it's not for me. Because I want to like every game. So, Chris, sorry.
Sure. No, you're fine. So although I agree with you guys, and it looks like a really well made game, it's plays fine.
He's like, they're grading high when they weren't really into it. I'm gonna have to I gotta change this up. I'm gonna hit them low.
The problem for me that is without like any kind of like at least initiating story, it's just a series of busy work for me. I enjoy puzzle games. I really do. I really enjoy puzzles, but they've got to like have some sort of like clue as to what they could be leading up to, or like an initial starting point instead of just being shoved into the island full of puzzles.
Well, not to speak for you, but I feel like I'm correct here. I feel like you like stories quite a bit. So if a puzzle game had a story to tell, I think you would be way more inclined to continue it.
Absolutely. But after beating, like, I get the achievement for the mirror puzzles and then doing a couple other puzzles here and there to get to the end of those, like, I was just like, what's the point? I mean, I'm just kind of here solving puzzles. That being said, with the taking into context of, it's an indie developer and how well it was made color-wise, gameplay-wise, fluid-wise, I'm just going to give it a C+. I can't.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's not bad, though.
That's a gut punch.
It's not a bad
to what we just said.
game. It's not a bad game, but there's just no beyond like, oh, what's the next puzzle? There's no drive for me to continue playing it.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's the first time when you were saying what you thought and then gave it a grade, it made sense.
Yeah, I thought those were pretty. I thought those were pretty connected as well. That sounded about right. I could tell you're going too lower than B range when you start talking and you hit it. So I'm like, okay. Because sometimes you're like, I don't really like this game. I think they had a lot of problems. I'm giving it a B+. I'm like, well, fuck. All right.
B+ for problems.
One time he gave it like an A-, and I thought he was going to go like, it sounded like he's going for like a C
territory, yeah.
I was like, God damn, that was a surprise.
Keep on your toes.
You never know what he's going to fucking grade it.
So B+, C+.
What I give it? I gave it a B.
Yeah.
I give it a B+. I'm getting kind of buzzed. Just to be fair.
You gotta talk about one more game still.
Yeah,
Fortunately, it's bread and butter for you.
Yeah, it's real easy. Real easy. So yeah, B+, and a C+.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think they're all fair. Those are all good. All good grades. No A's, though. No one loved it. That's too bad. Let us know in the comments what you think about The Witness. Did you play it? Did you not play it? Why didn't you play it? If you played it, did you like it? Is this kind of your kind of game? Is it not your kind of game? What do you think about the puzzles? What do you think about the visual style? And did you ever play Braid? Are you a fan of this guy? I forgot his name. I should remember it because he's one of the 3 dudes that were really popular outside of the guy who made fucking Fez and then the Meat Boy Boys. The Meat Boys.
That's a very fun Twitter to follow, by the way.
I'm sure.
Super Meat Boy.
And yeah, let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to The Witness. The other game we played this month really doesn't need any introduction, but it's Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. It came out originally with the garbage fucking trash fire that was Infinite Warfare. And originally they're like, to get this, you have to buy this game. I'm like, no, because you're going to release that shit. And they're like, no, you only can get it with this game. I'm like, nuh-uh, you're going to sell it. I know you will. And then they did, and then I bought it. And then it came out, and then they gave it away. I was like, 'cause I'm not buying your fucking piece of shit game. I played the beta and it was garbage. It's like the one Call of Duty I was like, no fucking way. Fuck this game. Every gun looked like a goddamn lunchbox. Anyway, it's just a square that did things. I was like, this is stupid. Anyway, Call of Duty Modern Warfare is the very famous, legendary first-person shooter that came out a long time ago. You play as older Call of Duties used to do, multiple different soldiers during a conflict. I'm not going to go into the details of that. Spans all over the world, tells a story. It's all first person told. FPS obviously has the multiplayer that we're used to in almost every single first person shooter nowadays. Leveling up, perks, stuff like that. Yeah, kind of from a time where Call of Duty was a little more slow-paced than it is nowadays, back when it's still almost a tac shooter. I mean, when Modern Warfare came out originally, there was a lean button. Mm-hmm. They're still doing that in Call of Duty because they're thinking of it as a military shooter, not a run on walls and shoot people in the face 360 no-scope game yet. So it's really interesting to kind of go back and revisit it, which was the fun for me. But we started with Chris last time, so let's start with you, Chevy. What were your impressions
I was going to offer to go first anyway.
on Call of Duty Modern Warfare?
So I've actually played this when it came out originally, so it was kind of neat to be able to see what they did with it. I actually I didn't play through the whole campaign, and I played zero multiplayer just for transparency's sake. But I didn't play the multiplayer.
I urged him to play multiplayer because I knew he would go on there and just dominate everyone, and I wanted to witness it, but he refused because, like any god, you don't want to show off your powers so easily. You got to save those.
So I played through the beginning of the game where you play as one country, and then it switches, and you play as that as well, and then I stopped. So the thing I have to say is visually, it looks great. They did
still looks good.
Yeah, they did a really good job
on the remastering.
Yeah, for sure.
But I played on PC at the highest graphics, and it still looked great back then. Mm-hmm. It looked way like obviously it doesn't look as good on console, but yeah, they definitely increased it with this remaster.
Yeah, you can especially see in like weather effects and like lighting and stuff, especially like in the helicopter.
Yeah. No, everything looked great. My only gripe was the part in, I think, first or second level. Is the part where you go into a house and you're supposed to like put your night vision goggles on. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's bright as shit in here.
Yeah.
There's no point for me to put those on. And the whole time it's just across my screen. Put them on. I'm like, no.
I feel like that was.
Put them on. I'm like, no.
I feel like that happened in the original game though, because I don't remember ever like needing the night vision goggles.
It might have been, but it was real apparent in this one.
Yeah. Well, and
I mean, back then it was a brand new thing. And I was like, oh, this is cool.
Right.
But in this, I'm like, what the fuck? It's aim dark. That's most games for me though.
So yeah, I think in that regard, though, they did a really good job. The sound design is very Call of Duty. So hard for me to kind of compare that because I don't have a good memory of what it used to sound like.
Man, that AK-47 sounds way beefier in this though than the newer ones. The newer ones, so Call of Duty has evolved nowadays into a multiplayer game first and foremost, and that's fine because I enjoy the multiplayer. And when the stories come out, if they do come out, I'm like, whatever. I'll play through them, but I'm not really stoked on it. But AK-47 in Call of Duty has, or anything like any variant that's supposed to be like the AK-47, has turned into a high-powered, very accurate, laser-accurate machine gun that just goes straight. And then this, it's like, and just like pulls up like you're used to in a lot of games.
Yeah.
And the sound is way beefier than I'm used to nowadays. It's weird how Call of Duty's sound design has... It's not bad, but it's designed for gameplay more so than it is for realism.
100% like just design.
Everything is designed to tell you stuff because it's an arena now. Whereas back then it was like, this is a gun. It's got to be loud like a gun. And they did that. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's a gun. And nowadays it's just like, this is the shotgun. It's pretty much a melee weapon. Like there's no logic anymore. It's just the rule sets. Anyway.
For sure. So, and like you said earlier, the pacing is a lot slower in this game than it is in current iterations of the series, and I really like that because it does. I don't know. It just feels really good when you play in that regard. The only complaint I have about like the gameplay aspect is when you get hit by a bullet, it is really severe on how like your screen turns red and your head just like jolts in random directions as you're getting hit.
Yeah.
And like the idea of getting hit by a bullet, yeah, cool. Like I get it, it hurts and whatnot, but gameplay mechanic wise, I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. So,
dude, go back and play GoldenEye. The whole time you're walking, it's like the frames per second's like 22 frames per second, and you're just like, and you get hit, and you're fucking. And fucking your screen's just getting like bright red and flashing and shit. It's obnoxious.
Ooh, yeah, no thanks.
So anyway,
but
I keep getting sidetracked.
It's fine. So
I'm like, that's annoying. This is more annoying.
The one thing I did really appreciate about the pace though is I felt like they were able to tell a story, which is something they've lost.
Oh, dude, that was one thing playing this again that I was like immediately interested in the story. I haven't felt that way in a long time with the Call of Duty. Like ever since Black Ops came out, and I love the multiplayer in Black Ops. The whole series multiplayer is great, but like the first Black Ops game when it came out, I essentially looked at like a piece of shit fucking cousin to the series. I'm like, get that shit away from me, because I played the single player and I was like, this is fucking dumb. But playing this again, and playing the story as soon as it started. I'm like, the writing's good, the characters are cool, there's an intrigue to it. Even at the end of that mission in the beginning, since that's pretty much where you're at, he's talking with oh god, I forgot his name, fucking mustache guy.
Very detailed mustache, man.
Yeah, and and they rescue that Nikolai guy or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, are the Americans attacking Al-Assad?" And they're like, "Yeah," and he's like, "They're never gonna get him out of there alive." And then it just cuts and goes to the next part, and it's like, "The fuck's he talking about?"
So the next part, though, speaking of like set pieces and pacing, you don't actually like get to play at this point. You're just like, you are a camera. You know, you're a person, obviously, but you're essentially just a camera through this whole scene. And
Which one?
When you're going through the streets.
When you're in the car.
When you're in the car.
Oh, and like the very beginning,
Yeah.
the first level.
Yeah, it's in between. I thought maybe I got my spots wrong, but I thought that was after you did the British part.
No,
you
that's
witnessed
before.
that, and then
No, there's the training part, and then the guy gets shot, and then you go and get
well,
Nikolai.
I got the pacing or
Yeah,
the spots
doesn't
wrong.
matter.
But yeah, that part I really appreciate too, because it's something, you know, a lot of shooters you play as a character, like you said, and in this you play as multiple characters, and some of them aren't even like people with guns. Like,
That's something that people really forgot about, and including people who work on Call of Duty, that the earlier Call of Duty, especially Modern Warfare 2, were telling stories, and their pacing in the story was like a movie. It wasn't a Michael Bay movie yet. Later, it was just like every scene, they say some cool shit. All of a sudden, cars are flipping, and they're like, get your gun, soldier, and they grab and they start shooting and shit. And you're like, okay, yeah. But like in that one, there's a whole long drawn out scene where you're playing a guy, you don't know who the hell you are, why you're in the back of the car, and then it ends with you getting shot in the face. And you're like, whoa, what the hell happened? And then it builds into something. In Modern Warfare 2, and a bunch of fucking people whined about it. Games journalism. We're on to you nowadays, but fucking back then, it was like, why are they whining about this so much? There's that scene where you go in the airport and shoot the place up, no Russian.
Yeah.
I thought that was fucking amazing, because in the storytelling aspect, you don't have to shoot, but you're witnessing it. You're getting the gravity of it and what they're willing to do to frame people. It's a really strong storytelling mechanic, not even just for Call of Duty, for games in general. So like, there was some really good storytelling in early Call of Duty. It's weird.
for sure, and
'Cause it's gone now.
and it was neat to be able to see that again. And then playing as, then you go to play as the Americans, and even just the vibe of like the type of soldier you are versus Soap in the beginning, is just so much different, because you're a Marine now instead of so you're like undercover pretty much as Soap. Very small group of guys who do a lot of covert ops, and then like you're a Marine who goes in with the whole squad just shooting up the place.
Yeah, because it's telling a story, and that's who fits in that story.
Yeah, and
So,
I
just
really
like
like that.
The amazing scene that everyone loves with the nuke that goes off in this. It's fucking amazing. The guy you're playing, he's dead.
Yep.
Like, it just showed you that scene. It's fucking awesome.
For
I get
sure.
chills just thinking about it.
So, but just to kind of like wrap up, my feelings on the remaster. I've played this before, so there wasn't like a huge surprise there, but it was a nice reminder of what Call of Duty used to be. And I think for a company who didn't make that game, but got to, remaster it, they treated it really well, which I really appreciate.
Activision's remasters are pretty good. It's weird.
Yeah, the Spyro one. I think Crash Team Racing is coming out,
And Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
and they're all really solid.
That's
So
the best thing Activision's really making right now outside of Call of Duty, which is kind
apparently,
of sad.
apparently they spend money on remakes, or remasters.
Like they actually put the work in and make them look way better, but they also don't look cheap. Sometimes when you do a remaster, they just kind of like smooth the game out and make it brighter with the lighting. But other than that, like, people almost look like plastic because they didn't really put the animations in really. So that was the first thing I noticed when I was playing this, is I was looking at why can't I remember his fucking name? When he was talking, his facial animations, I don't remember him being that good in the original.
Chewing on the cigar.
Yeah, like it looked great. And I was like, this game came out a long time ago, and this looks great. But that was like before they were like, well, let's make these games every 2 fucking years, every 3 years.
Every year.
That game was made because they're trying to make a fucking game. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my overall thought on the game. I appreciate pretty much everything I saw. So, and what Call of Duty used to be. I was having fun playing it. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good to hear. Okay, so I'm obviously biased because I like first-person shooters, and I actually do appreciate Call of Duty as a series. Obviously, every time we talk about it, I always try and give as much credit as I can without being unrealistic, because obviously there is things about the newer iterations that
It's a sports game.
that have weakened it. People who outright hate it, whatever. But I think the series has a legacy that definitely should be respected in some sense if you appreciate that kind of thing in gaming. So going back to this, it's been really cool because, I mean, like I said, I already bought this when it originally got released, and liked it then too. But playing it, I made sure to try and touch a little bit of everything so I could talk about everything a bit. And I went to the multiplayer first, which is cool because, like you were kind of saying, and like I've said, the pacing is slower, and it's an interesting take because I'm so used to Call of Duty now. I play presently, and I still enjoy playing it, but it has become a lot faster paced. Everything's a lot more just right there and ready to do. As soon as you have a perk ready, fucking just, you launch it in, whenever that all happens. You got like moves now and all this shit happening constantly. When you get perks to reload fast, it's like insanely fast now. It's just like, and you're fucking ready to go and you're shooting, and it's great when you're playing against people, but it's unrealistic. So going back and playing this, first off, when you run for like 10 seconds and then you're out of fucking energy. So it doesn't incentivize you constantly running and jumping and moving and stuff. It's more like run to a point, hold the point, and then run if you have to, which I really appreciate. That's more of a tactical feel. The guns feel like they hit hard. They feel well-rounded, more realistic, which I like. The game is super detailed, even in its multiplayer. Back then, they still had like really tall grass you could actually hide in. They got the fuck rid of that after Modern Warfare 2, which really sucks because I kind of missed that time where the maps were intricate and really detailed, and there was places that like weren't designed as a 3-lane map. That's kind of their system now. They want 3 lanes, and before it was just like, let's make a balanced map that's fun to play. And I mean, there's maps where there's like a field of grass here, a barn over here, and then like a little town here, and it just was like, just go at it. And I miss that kind of like chaos. The perks are, there's less of them, and you can only have like one activated or whatever, but they make a huge difference. Even the reloading slow, the running, you can't run forever, but when you put these perks on, it only adjusts it a little bit. It's just enough to give you an edge, and I kind of missed that as well. So when I was playing online, I felt more inclined to move slower and like take corners slower and kind of hold my position more often than I would in newer Call of Duty, and that was pretty cool. So I kind of really missed that. So it was really cool to revisit. And then the story, like I said before, playing it looks great, sounds great. The visuals still in 2019, I think, look really fucking good. Some of that's obviously with the remaster, but they're only building on top of something that was already there in the first place. It just shows the amount of time and effort and work they put into the original. The story is interesting. I really like it. I would like to beat it again just because I know it's a good story. I've beaten that game multiple times. And yeah, the only thing is I've been playing Call of Duty for so long now that there is a formula in their campaigns that is similar to like a theme park, where you're just kind of like walking through, looking at set pieces, and then you get into an area and start shooting stuff, and then you keep moving and seeing the set pieces, and the set pieces are always great and awesome. And I love the older dialogue and stuff like that, but I do get fatigued from the gameplay because it hasn't aged as well as it should. But I mean, that game came out a long time ago, so that's any older game I can make the same argument for. But I'm not gonna sit here and just say the whole game is fantastic. That part, I start getting bored, running to cover, shoot, dialogue, let's run forward, set piece. It's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to play it for too long. But like I said, in this one, the storytelling and the dialogue's way better, and the set pieces are way better than the ones later. I remember, I think it's Modern Warfare 3. There's a part, like, there's big parts in Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 that are, like, epic. Like, you watch and be like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. The pacing, even in Modern Warfare 2, where the EMP goes off, that whole part is amazing.
Yeah.
The pacing, the slow build to it, like, nobody knows what's happening. The Russians are like, what the fuck's going on? They're trying to get guys out of their tanks and stuff. And you got to take the White House back and stuff. Like, it's intense. And then you play, like, Modern Warfare 3, and you're just, everybody's just shooting and screaming and shit, and tanks are blowing up, and then everybody's like, look, and it just like pans over, and the music's like bob bob bob, and it shows the Eiffel Tower, and it goes, and then they're like, whoa, and then it just ends the like level. I'm like, was that the set piece? That was stupid. So anyway, there was a time where these were very well crafted games. This reminded me of that. I've very much enjoyed playing it again, and yeah, like I said, I'm biased. I've always really appreciated these older games. So yeah, that was my impressions. Good impressions, Chris.
So for transparency, I played a couple rounds of online matches with some of the viewers. You know who you are.
I don't. I love them.
And then I played
Wait, who did you play again with?
I think it was, who did I play with?
Wade and Olmec.
Wade and
Wasn't Psycho there?
I think that was it. I don't think Psycho was there.
I thought he did. Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, you're right. It was
Psycho
Wade,
play?
Olmec, and Psycho. Yeah, we had a big group.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. I don't remember.
The viewers.
The viewers, hey.
Damn.
And I played about 5 or 6 of the story missions. And full transparency, again, shooters are not my forte of games.
He says that all the time, but he plays them with us all the time.
That's just different. It's different. That being said, I was coming off of playing the Division 2 while playing this, so it's kind of skewed my perspective a little, and I'm trying to take that with a grain of salt. But gameplay-wise, the controls, I didn't enjoy the controls. I didn't hate the controls, but they felt very loose to me. And again, it's an older game, and it's more realistic, I think, because like you said, you can't run forever, which is nice. The reloading speed is a normal speed. It's a slower paced game, which would be more conducive to someone like me who doesn't play a lot of shooters. You know, on slower paced games, you can take your aim better, which I appreciated. But just, I really couldn't get over the fact that, like, to get into cover, you physically have to, like, press the button, get down, like, physically hide yourself. Like, there's no, like, button to, like, slide into cover like I've played in other games before.
God, I would hate if Call of Duty had that.
So it's skewed. I have a skewed perspective because I'm kind of pampered with any of, like, the little experience I have with shooters like Call of Duty, not like Overwatch or, like, you know, the Division 2, which are in a different, I think, genre of shooters.
Well, one's third person.
Yeah, and a looter shooter, which is closer akin to like PvP, but also like an MMO, and its gameplay is based off of other Ubisoft games of cover shooters.
Oh, I'm sorry, I went from Division to Overwatch.
Oh yeah, I was talking about Division too.
Yeah, Division is third person shooter, and the things you said, and then Overwatch is more
I think
PvP.
one of the better games you can compare to Call of Duty is like Battlefield, because it competed with it, but they're still different. But like neither of them have like necessarily cover that you have a button to lock into.
It's like somewhere between, you know, Battlefield and like Doom.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just personally, I wasn't interested in the story. I wasn't invested in the story, which, like we said earlier, is kind of a big thing for me for games. Like, if I don't hear a story, if I don't understand what's going on, then I just don't really get into it. I gave it, like I said, 5 or 6 levels, which the story was okay, but I just didn't care. Unfortunately, I just couldn't find myself really caring too much about it. It was intriguing politically, like what was going on with the countries and whatnot, but beyond that, I was just like, okay, I'm here to shoot everybody. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
I literally just ran around with a shotgun, crouched, and just kind of walked through and shotgunned everybody as I came across them.
That's creepy that you're just fucking...
Pretty much blam.
I thought you were like a Goomba.
Pretty much.
Just fucking walk around with a shotgun. Sounds like Danny DeVito's walking around with a shotgun shooting people in Call of Duty.
And I don't think I've ever played any other Call of Duty before this.
Really?
I mean, maybe I played like a zombies mode, but that's it.
Yeah, that's definitely later too, with Black Ops and stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'll say even I've dabbled in quite a few of them.
Yeah. We used to play, I mean, you beat Call of Duty 2 before I did.
Well, yeah, the old World War II ones or whatever.
Yeah, Call of Duty 2.
I played those, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and
Call of
then,
Duty and Call of Duty 2 is fucking amazing.
And then
3
Modern
sucked.
Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 I played, and then I also played Black Ops 3. Can't remember what number.
Which actually
we're
had a
on.
pretty decent story.
Yeah,
which was
plus
weird.
It had multiplayer campaign, which
With leveling up and stuff, I have no idea why they didn't bring that back. Nobody must have played it.
that sucks. It was fun.
Yeah, I really liked it. I would still play it.
Just like a mode in Call of Duty Ghosts, which I also played.
Yeah, all their interesting modes, their demographic doesn't want to play them.
I would say the stuff I like, people don't like apparently.
Yeah.
They
They want it to stay
have
the
a
same.
mode in Call of Duty Ghosts, just for Chris, but now I know obviously whoever's watching who may not know, that
Squads mode.
Yeah, it's called Squads, and you would make a bunch of characters and you'd play them, and the game would kind of learn how those played, and then you could go against other people's squads, which were all
The NPCs of them while they're gone,
and you'd pick your favorite map and stuff like that. So
which is like your home map. Yeah, so
Yes.
if someone invaded you.
So I had one. It was like a train/freight yard type thing, and there's an underpass on one side, and I would always like when I played my shotgun guy, I'd always go in that tunnel to make this nice close quarters thing, and then I think I talked to you and Josh about it, and you guys would tell me like the shotgun guy was always down there all the time, and it's because the game knew that's where I was pathing wise going. With
It
that
kind
character.
of paid attention to how you played and where you went heat map wise on
Yeah.
the map with that.
So it was really kind of neat because there was an element of strategy.
weird 'cause
to
the rest of that
building
game was garbage.
Your character, yeah, when I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
That was the only mode I
hated that
played.
game.
So.
Yeah. That mode was cool though.
Yeah. So, and I'd love to see them bring that back, though. I would prefer to see like Treyarch do it instead. But
Yeah.
anyways, that was just me explaining. I thought it was really neat, and it had nothing. It was competitive without being aggressively competitive, I guess would be a good way to put it. More of a strategy, I think.
Yeah.
Like just you get to plan and make and build, and I like that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Anything
have
else?
one other complaint. It's a technical complaint, very technical complaint. When I downloaded the game to play with everybody, because I played the multiplayer first, they're like, "Oh, you can download the story mode first or the multiplayer first. Which would you like to download first?" It's like, "Oh, I need the multiplayer." I downloaded the multiplayer. You can't play multiplayer without having the full story single player mode. Why give me the fucking option?
It's weird. I didn't have that issue.
I told it to download story first, so I had no idea.
Yeah, I had to download multiplayer. I was able to do it.
Just didn't like Chris.
Yeah.
Rude.
It's so technical that the game decided it didn't like Chris. And it's like, not you.
We know where this is going. Fuck this guy.
He's going to say bad things about this game. You got to wait. You'll get to play it, but not fast.
I'm terrible at these games. KDA, I had like 0.75 or something like
that
that.
doesn't even fucking matter.
What was it?
0.75?
That's about average.
That's not bad.
I normally do about a 1.0 in most games on average across the board. And then obviously higher or lower. So
I'm definitely under.
so I'm getting a kill per death pretty much.
But yeah, I don't even pay attention to that anymore at all. I did a little bit during like the Halo days, but
Yeah. I'm always curious about it. I like stats and stuff like that, but I'm not. When I was younger, I'd try and get my KDA or KDR up, but yeah, now I'm just way
yeah,
too
you were a
fucking old.
nutcase on that with combat arms.
Yeah. Yeah, I had like a 2.4 or some shit,
Yeah, it was
2.5.
stupid.
Yeah. I was pretty good at that game though. Yeah, so let's get into recommendations.
I think it'd be a great idea for you to pretty much give recommendations.
Do the whole thing.
Well, and then if we have additions, because
Okay, yeah.
you're probably gonna nail most of them, if not all of them.
If you like first-person shooters, you already played this, so play it again. If you like Call of Duty now, you probably already played this, so play it again. If you liked Call of Duty then, and you don't like Call of Duty now, play it again. If you like tac shooters from back in the day, play this. If you like military stuff and movie-like games, play this. If you like good stories, if you're into military stuff, play this. If you like games with big set pieces, this game set the fucking bar. Every game after this mimicked it for years. So it's definitely worth playing as well. If you've played any... what am I looking for here? If you like online shooters or online games in general where you level up and unlock stuff, this is the game to play for sure. Not this one, but going back and revisiting it would be a good idea because it was fun. It still is. I think it still holds up. That's how ahead of the time this game's multiplayer was. Is games are still pretty much doing the same exact thing that it popularized. So it's easy to go back and play because it's still just doing the same shit that everybody else is still doing.
Yeah.
Nobody's like reinvented the wheel yet. They try with loot boxes, but everybody's like, this isn't that fun. I don't really want to pay you for fun. Yeah, I don't know really what else to say. I can't really throw in there if you like racing games or anything like that.
So
Fucking-
I have two additions to that.
Okay.
So if you like checking out like how well Remaster is done,
go on.
this is done pretty well. And I also want to say if you are into Apex Legends right now and you want to see where those guys came from, this is it. So those guys who have the ideas in Apex Legends, this is where they. This was the height of their Activision career. Pretty much.
let me give it to you. Fucking Vince Zampella and something West, I forgot his name. Those two dudes. Those guys started working for, I believe, Spielberg's gaming company back in the day that made Medal of Honor. They made Allied Assault, which anybody who knows those games knows that's the best one that was ever made. Allied Assault is fucking legendary. It had that fucking D-Day level. Those guys started there. They made that game. Then they broke off, made Infinity Ward, made fucking the original Call of Duty, which was amazing. Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Then the motherfuckers left, made Titanfall.
Legal battle with Activision.
Yeah. And I was rooting them on the whole time because I'm like, these guys are like way too good. Wherever the hell they go, they're going to make great things. Then they made Titanfall, which I was right. I love fucking Titanfall. Titanfall 2, I love Titanfall, and everybody does. Everyone I talked to who actually played it was like, that sucks, that game didn't do that well.
Yeah.
And now Apex Legends. So, I mean, like,
huge
this dude's got a fucking crazy history in first-person shooters.
Yeah.
So if you like any of those games,
Those are my additions to recommendations.
Chris, if you like boring political things,
No.
countries,
If you like
I mean,
soap,
this is definitely
there's
the
soap in this game.
nostalgia factor. That's what this is. I think is the biggest key point. Is the nostalgia. If you played this game back in the day and you want to get back into it again, see what they did with it, that's the biggest turning point I have for
with
it.
current servers. So, yeah.
Just don't play Turning Point. Wasn't there a game called Turning Point? It was like Russians took over America in like 1950 or something.
I have no idea.
Or Nazis. That game was awful.
Good to know.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's grade it. Did I go first last time? Who went first last time?
I did?
Okay, well, I will go first then. I'm giving it A-.
Maybe
Biased,
you did.
but I still think this game is fucking absolutely legendary. And there's a time when everybody fucking loved this game.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays, if you don't like Call of Duty, that's fine, whatever. But this is the good one. This is one of the good ones, and it still is great. It's aged in some ways, and that's fine. I think it's aged gracefully. I think its remaster really kind of brings it into the modern day pretty well, though. I think it still looks great for now, and it's still really fun. Translates really well to nowadays, and yeah, I can't deny how much I've loved this game and still love it now. So it's real easy for me to give it A-.
Go ahead, Chris. I got to think.
Oh God, no, not me.
Why me?
Why me?
Why am I here?
So I'm going to try to give the credit that it's due because it is a really well, when it came out, really well received game. And they are known for their storytelling. And this is back in the day when they did that kind of stuff. But just for me, it just wasn't the hook for me. And I knew it was going to be like going into this because it's not my style of game.
This was non-hook March for Chris. Both games.
I
I
know.
appreciate it, but nah.
But I'm going to give its dues, and I'm just going to. It's going to be a B- for me.
It's fair.
It's like I said, it's aged, but it's not horrible. It's a little loose for my liking, but I haven't played it before, so this is all new controls for me. But it looks well enough. It's not amazing, but it looks well enough to pass as a modern-ish game for me. But it's not just. It just didn't have the hook for me.
Mm-hmm. I can tell Chris doesn't play a whole lot of first-person shooters because the controls are pretty much standard for first-person shooters on consoles. So
Yep.
when he says that, I'm like, yeah, he's playing a whole lot of these games.
Yeah.
The only thing that's kind of weird for me is like the D-pad, but Call of Duty's done that for a while. But I kind of hate that. But at the same time, where else would you put those buttons? So
Okay.
B-, A-.
Yeah. And I'm actually pretty close to where Seth's at. I just don't have the same kind of like affinity for Call of Duty. So I'm going to give it a B plus because it is a quality game, and I did play and beat and enjoyed it in the past. Though playing it this time was fun. It was definitely kind of short-lived for me though because I've done it before. So I do have to give it credit though. It still feels good. I do think it still plays well today. And I think that if the player base stays active on it, that it'll be around even longer, which will make this game have survived a very long time, which is insane.
I feel like when it came out and Infinite Warfare came out, there's a point where the pop playing the remaster was higher than Infinite Warfare.
Probably. Because I know at least like the general buzz around the game was people were buying it for that. They weren't buying it for Infinite Warfare.
I think Josh,
I'm pretty sure Josh was one of those people.
bought it for that.
Yeah.
And he was telling me like you have to. I'm like no. And he's like that's the only way to get it. I'm like no, they're gonna release it once they've made their
A lot
money.
of people did. And I think that also speaks a lot towards having to rate the game. Is that obviously there is a love there, and even I might not have a strong like nostalgic attachment to this, and I may not have a strong love for it, but it's definitely I can definitely see that it is a quality game, and no one was doing it that way. There's still a lot of people who aren't doing it that way. So B plus.
Yeah, all fair. Anything else you guys want to say? Sure. I'm just fucking mumbling at this point.
That's pretty much it.
Let us know in the comments. Did you play Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered? Have you played it in the past? Probably. What'd you think of it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you appreciate the older ones? Do you hate them all? Do you play them now? Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered and Call of Duty in general. And that's going to do this episode of Plus Club for March. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out my streams and Chris's streams on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word. That's me, and Tasty_Fruit. That's Chris. Hit the notification button to know when we go live. Also, you can watch my streams on here at YouTube. I dual stream when I stream. And we got a Discord link down below. Talk to us anytime, all the time. And we're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you'd prefer to listen to us. Apparently, because I released the ASMR video on fucking
Borderlands. The Borderlands video.
The Borderlands 3 video. I released that on all the podcast platforms because they allowed it. And then fucking YouTube's like, no. And I guess Psycho was just listening to the audio version of it, and he just listened to the ASMR thing. That thing is intended to watch. You're supposed to watch that. Don't listen to me talk to you like that. It's very creepy. I listened to myself. I'm like, ooh, God. I'm sorry I did this to you guys. But he took one for the team. He heard that before anybody else. At like 2 a.m. That sounds fucking horrifying. Anyway, yeah. We were saying our names?
No.
My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
Until the next episode, where I'm not fucking it up as much because of this shit. Have a good one, guys, and take it easy.